What's up, you filthy casuals? Welcome to the Casual Shenanigans Gaming Podcast, a podcast all about everything PC gaming related. I'm one of your hosts, Germ Gaming, and tonight I am joined by James, who feels great.
I feel great.
Joel, who also feels great.
I feel awesome, guys.
And Dave, who's on death's door.
Hello.
I'm the one who knocks.
Now, Dave, let's just go ahead and get it out of the way. You guys will not be seeing Breaking Bad Episode 5 come this Monday, and the reason for that is, Dave, why don't you give us some super scary bandit voice real quick?
Well, what's going on is...
Elmer Fudd, everyone.
Basically, the stable patch is...
Wait, that's
poor kid.
Sorry.
Wow. 2 out of 10, Joel. The stable patch has been delayed. They're plugging, apparently, 9 different exploits for duping right now. That was more than they had planned on fixing for this patch. Additionally, hacking is really, really bad right now, so we're just going to kind of wait to film the last part of the episode.
And the icing on the cake, Dave feels terrible at the moment.
That is the longest sentence I've said in 5 days.
It's been, okay, so you started feeling bad when I was there, right? When I was...
No, that was the wife. I made it a week, and thankfully our death's door sickness did not overlap.
Gotcha, okay. Because I wasn't...
We'd both be dead.
I knew she was feeling bad, like, when I left town. I didn't know if you were, like, that evening, or if... No, I guess you did play with us some last week. You've just kind of been gone this week.
Yeah.
It's been weird. I've had 2 nights where I just spent, like, 3 hours playing games by myself.
Was it great? Was it so nice?
Parts of it were nice. My Tropico Empire's coming along swimmingly.
Actually, I was bragging last Thursday. I streamed DayZ after the podcast, and I'm like, yeah, I survived like the Black Plague this week. I'm feeling great. And I was like, it's a good thing, too, because I'm out of sick days at work. And you can actually go back and watch the live stream at the end. I'm like coughing a few times. Woke up on Friday with a massive fever, double ear infection, which then grew into a upper respiratory infection as well. So, triple whammy.
You can only hope for what's next, man. Who knows, man?
I'm pretty sure all that's left at this point, Joel, is Ebola.
Upper cranial infection?
You know what? Let's just go ahead and gross out the listeners. I slept 1 hour last night because I couldn't stop.
Oh, there's more. Okay.
No, it's about to get pretty bloody here. I couldn't stop coughing, and I coughed for so long. Of course, I'm taking cough medicine and NyQuil and whatnot. My sinuses dried out so badly that I got a really bad nosebleed, which, because of the cough medicine, thins your blood and your mucus. It wouldn't clot. So I had blood running down my throat, which caused me to cough more. So then I couldn't... So then, like, the nosebleeds kept getting worse. So I'm, like, coughing blood while, like, sick with a huge nosebleed and double ear infection. I'm like, I'm dying.
I don't think I've ever been that sick. That's like
It's called tuberculosis, man.
Usually when you get that sick, they roll you out of the wagon and leave you on the prairie and just wave. Like, bye, you weren't going to make it.
They put you in a building, close it, burn the house down.
That's what got me. Like,
that's like Oregon Trail sickness.
Yeah, when you're like choking on your own blood, that's probably a bad sign.
Oh my gosh.
Honestly, I found it to be really annoying because when I get sick, it's usually like a, 24, 48 hour like fever, done with it. Like, I get over colds really fast. And so I thought this was going to be like the same thing, and I have never gotten this sick before. I don't know what I caught.
I don't know if I've ever told you guys this. Chris, you guys on the podcast probably know, Chris grew up in a different
or
country.
Mark. I always get him wrong. I don't know who you're talking about. It's Chris or Mark.
They do.
Chris
Those two actually just sound a little similar.
Not at all. Not even
a little bit. Yeah, they do.
Nope, sure don't.
Yep.
So anyway...
People think me and Joy sound exactly similar. I don't think that's true.
What?
People think Dave and I
That's
sound the
because
same.
you sound like a woman.
Yeah, but you know him better than I do.
Yeah.
Not you, Joel.
Calm down, Dave. Calm down. You're getting too excited. So Chris grew up in a different country for like the first 15 years of his life or something. So his immune system is just a little different. And like he would get sick.
He could swim underwater and breathe.
No, immune system.
I know. I was just taking it further. Gosh,
I
you guys
know.
always like, Joel's a retard. He doesn't know the difference
No, I was
between
keeping the
things."
joke going, Joel.
Oh, I thought it was just like,
I'm so sorry.
Joy just said, "What? We don't sound similar." In the chat.
Okay.
I don't think we do, but some
So
people
anyway.
Well, now that Joel's offended, that's basically like the most I'm going to say, I think, the whole podcast. I'm going to just eat my homemade soup down here now.
Do that.
Have a good dinner.
So Chris would get sick really easily. So we roomed together in college, and I'd come home from class, and like I'm pretty much never sick longer than 24 hours. I've got like an iron immune system. Yes, I'm bragging a little bit, but like I would come back from class and be like, oh, I just, I feel a little like, you can tell when you're going to be sick the next day, that kind of feeling, like, I just don't feel quite right. And and then I'd wake up the next morning and be totally fine, and Chris would just be laying in bed like a zombie, like wrapped in his blanket, just shivering, like, I want to die. And he'd be like 3 days of just nothing but Kleenexes and cuddled up in the recliner and wishing death upon everybody. And yeah, it happened like 5 or 6 times during college. It was great.
You know what, Jeremiah? I think that's why I'm so annoyed, too, is because, since May, I've been consistently, like, doing a running program. I've lost weight. I stopped drinking soda. Oh, is that soda? That's great timing, yes. Like, I'm
Diet
eating all
cherry
this...
Dr. Pepper.
Oh, that's
Gross.
It's delicious.
Like, I'm eating better than, like, I ever have in years. Like, I should be able to knock stuff
You're
out.
welcome.
Honestly,
Yeah.
that's actually probably a huge reason why you got sick too, actually. Like, changing like that is actually a pretty huge thing to your immune system because it's like you're not used to it. There was someone who like never ate salad before, like ever, and it was like, oh, I'll eat healthy. They got extremely sick once they stopped eating their regular food. It's just
But in that case, you ought to just like push through.
yeah, no,
Like,
exactly,
oh,
no.
killing me.
It's not the salad killing. It's
Healthy
just kind of like
food is
getting used
bad
to
for you
different food,
guys.
and it's also like cleaning out,
Back to Little
Whatever.
Caesars, extra large for $5. This is
I feel
food.
so healthy again.
Oh, guys, what pizza place, and we're so rabbit trailing here, what pizza place announced this week that you can now get your, like, triple meat pizza with a baked pretzel crust?
I think it was Pizza Hut.
Was it Pizza Hut?
I remember.
Check
I-
that right now.
It's horrifying. I bet you can stuff it with cheese, too. I'll bet you.
That's the American
And-
dream.
I kind of want to try it.
What are those poor people in Italy doing eating pizza with just like, it's just like dough with toppings on it? They haven't experienced real pizza. So,
Bacon cheese stuffed crust.
why
That's what it is.
bother?
I don't know. It's not. I love stuffed crust pizza from Pops.
I don't know if I don't think I've ever had a stuffed crust pizza.
What? Really? It's so good, man. I mean, we don't get it all the time, but every once in a while, it's pretty awesome.
Makes me sick.
I don't really.
It's a
eat
lot of
fast
cheese.
food. I don't eat fast food really, so I don't think I ever.
I'm smelling something really good. Joy, are you making something amazing right now? Oh my god, it smells like
You're asking her through Twitch chat.
Well, she's downstairs because
Right,
if she's
so
up here,
instead of yelling to her, you're gonna. Ask
Well, I don't
her,
yell at
and
my wife like you do. I don't just
and
go
wait
like,
40
"Make me a sandwich."
You're gonna wait 45 seconds for her to see it in Twitch
I am.
and then type your reply.
I'll
Marriage.
wait for it.
We're in the future.
We're doing that together today.
I will say, when we're on the subject of pizzas, when we do get a pizza, we get the Walmart deli pizzas are pretty tasty as far as pizzas go. I don't know if you guys have had them.
Can't say I have.
They come like they're already. They're not. Well, yeah, they're frozen, but they're from the Walmart deli. I mean, I don't know who makes it for them. I doubt the deli there actually makes it, but yeah. Anyway, okay. So first up at the top of the podcast, now that the long rambling intro is done, we just want to encourage everybody to go to iTunes right now and leave us a rating. No, we just were talking about it after our podcast recently. You guys are very supportive of the podcast, and we very much appreciate it. And we do mention iTunes every once in a while, but I wanted to just reiterate, that's a really good way to have other people see the podcast. It moves it up in search rankings and stuff. I don't think we only have like 7 ratings or something in iTunes. We don't have that many, which is why I thought we'd bring it up at the beginning of the podcast instead of at the end. If you guys ever had any spare time to go leave us a rating or a review, we would surely appreciate it. And it helps spread the filthy casual love to everyone else.
It really helps us out.
I think we would probably
Actually,
get,
do it now before the podcast is over.
I was trying to avoid saying it really helps us out. Like us, give us a comment, subscribe.
Guys, don't forget to smash that like button.
I bet we probably have less likes or comments on iTunes. It's because this is catered to PC gamers, and most
Yes,
people
probably.
gamers don't have iTunes or
That-
iTunes because you can't comment unless you have an iTunes account.
Yeah, and
So that's
is
where
a
the front. I'm like, so I wasn't actually trying to just say like, you guys want to, but that actually
That's an interesting point, actually.
that probably
yeah.
actually helps, or doesn't help us out actually.
Well, I can't tell them go leave a comment on our RSS feed. Or you can leave a comment on Stitcher Radio or on Stitcher. We're on your podcast program of choice, pretty much all of them we're available in. We should be. But iTunes is like the only one that lets you leave comments. Maybe we ought to go ahead and just break down and make that website already. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, you can do that. And of course, you can always support us on Patreon. And we greatly appreciate that. The Teamspeak server that we were having issues with, as far as we know, is back up and working correctly. If we have issues with it again, we may be transferring hosts, so we know that we've distributed the Teamspeak information out to everybody. But, if it goes down, we're sorry. We'll get another one up and going. Okay, actual first news item.
It's time for the news. You gotta do a little something so I can tell, like, oh yeah, I gotta do something.
Okay. It is
Maybe you should
now.
actually pay attention to the podcast.
We start the podcast like we always do with the news.
Awesome.
And then you could be like, news time.
News time.
Right, like that. Okay, so Elder Scrolls Online, easily the worst MMO to ever come out in the past year or two. Is that right, Joel?
Bull crap. I love it.
Okay, so you like it.
I love it. Like,
Okay.
I love it better than Skyrim.
Okay. So you
It
play
did
a
get
lot
a
of it, right?
6.5.
You
Just
play it.
saying.
You play it. Joel, I'm sorry. I was trying to tee this up, and we were going to bounce back and forth a little bit here, but you're just not taking the bait. Okay, I'll cut right to it. Layoffs have hit ZeniMax Online, the developers of Elder Scrolls Online. I was going to do this whole thing like, man, the game sucks. They deserve to be shut down, right? No. No, we're not meshing. I don't know why, Joel. I'm sorry.
I think I'm so hungry.
I'm so
Continue,
sorry,
no.
Joel. As long as we're still friends.
I guess it just wasn't a very good,
Probably it was my fault. Yeah, I didn't do a good job.
No.
Okay, so ZeniMax Online has laid off a bunch of people. If you're worried about the Elder Scrolls Online because of that, well, you should be worried about it because not many people are playing it. But you shouldn't be worried about it because of that.
There's actually a good amount of people playing it, though. There's
a good amount, but I don't think there are as many as they want playing an Elder Scrolls game. Like as far as Elder
No. But
Scrolls games go,
it's a much bigger amount than most people think it is. So it's actually not doing as bad as people think. So it's just kind of
Is it
sucks,
doing
but
as good as
actually-
they want? That's all that matters.
No, it isn't.
no. But yeah, so
I
they're
think if the game was just straight $60 flat, I think there'd be a ton more people playing it.
Dave nods emphatically. Well,
Can I pause and say our chat is really going off on a rabbit trail about. I mean, they're sharing recipes and stuff. We're trying to do a podcast here. If you want to shift gears and do more about cooking, we can.
Ladies, contain the soup. We're letting them dictate the conversation.
Didn't we have a 10-minute intro about coughing up blood, though?
We did. That's not soup.
True.
Okay.
This soup is really good, though.
I have something interesting I was going to say about the Elder Scrolls, though, even just about this news in general. Mm-hmm. It's kind of funny that we are talking about this, and I almost wonder, like, if we shouldn't be talking about this, like, if this is actually even worthy news. Not necessarily, I mean, like, we can talk about whatever we want. Thank you. Yes, I'm so
Yeah, we all thank you.
But I was going to say, like, I really love the game. I hope it doesn't do bad. I hope it don't close it out right when I'm starting to really enjoy it. I want to play it for a long period of time now. Well, I'm suckered into it. It's amazing.
He just paid for his first.
I was going to say, I don't think this is really a news story, but it is a news story in the sense that people are talking about it. But this happens all the time. What happens is they scaled up to get a bunch of extra people to make the game. The game comes out. They've done all the major post-launch support. Now you're just into extra content and stuff. So they now need to scale back down. They don't need the team that builds the game to maintain the game. And so almost every major game studio does this, every year. But for some reason, it always becomes a huge news item when it happens. Like Sony Online's laid off people. Activision's laid off people. It's a big deal when a studio closes, but just people getting laid off, unfortunately, that's just part of the gaming industry.
I think it's bigger news that Nintendo's been laying off people. Nintendo Europe.
have they?
They
Europe?
Yeah, they how many positions they let go of?
I didn't know they
238.
I think, it's funny, like, people go, oh, it's such big news, but it's funny because the same thing happens, like, people who make big movies and stuff. It's like you hire people for a big movie, but the movie's not going to, like, last forever. You work on it for maybe a year, and then you're gone. Like, you work on, hopefully, another project, So games are huge. I mean, like, a game, you might be, like, for Elder Scrolls, they started work on that after, I think it was after Fallout 3 or Oblivion. It was ridiculous. They've been working on it for years and years and years. Mm-hmm. So it's like, that job's not going to last forever. Like, you don't need 5,000 people working on it once it's done. Then it's just up to a core amount of people to keep it running and stuff. So obviously they're going to be working on more DLC content or more new maps and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I think like sometimes it's like I almost kind of feel bad talking about this news because other people are going to be like, oh, they're laying off. I'm like, no, I wanted to do well.
Yeah,
but whatever.
Well, it was.
Okay, go ahead, James. No, you go ahead.
It was the Nintendo thing. I'll let you finish.
Okay. Yeah, it's really not a big news item, and Joel's right. Like, you look at movies, the movie will hire, 400 people or whatever. Look at the credits next time you watch a movie. It's hundreds of people. They do the work on the movie, and then they don't get laid off or fired. They just go look for another project. The understanding is when the movie's done, their work on it is done. But for video games, for some reason, we still have this kind of cultural perception that you work at this studio, like, as a permanent fixture, but that's not really the case for AAA games anymore. There are some companies like Naughty Dog that just crank out hit after hit after hit, and because those hits are good, they're able to just keep their staff on. But that's not the case for most studios, and that's probably because of the vanishing middle area of video games. Like, you only have giant AAA games and then smaller games now. Like, every time someone like THQ goes under, people are less willing to take risks on new IPs, and they're more willing to put out sequels to popular franchises and stick to the names everyone knows for huge development, or like little 5 to 10 person teams making interesting stuff. So
yeah, and I guess something from that almost just kind of bothers me. Just in the past 5 years, if a game comes out and it's not amazing, I feel like it's instantly the developers are crap and everyone hates them. It's like
if it's just a good game.
Yeah,
like, well, how dare you?
Yeah, exactly. It's not like, oh man, I kind of feel bad for the people. They were trying to make a good game and it wasn't good. It's no, they tried to make it horrible and everyone's horrible and Activision's horrible. It's like, what the heck? Sometimes people try to make a good game and they just don't succeed in making a great game.
Yeah, but you know that some people, like film related, for example, in order to get to their next film, they want to wrap up their project so they can get to the next project.
Yeah, I know that.
They want to make the quick
they
buck.
just assume it, though.
Artificial timelines.
But that's the same for a lot of films, though. I mean, a lot of people want to make good movies, but they don't know how. So I don't go, oh, they're horrible people for making crappy movies. I'm like, no, I think it's a crappy movie. I don't hate the people because they probably tried their hearts out to make something good for what they think is a good movie or what they think is a great game. I just think it's like an instant, I assume they did a horrible job and everyone, it's like, gee whiz. Like,
no, but when you look at a game, especially, like a Battlefield, they know how to make games. They set these deadlines and they have to meet the deadlines and they don't get to do the testing that they need to get it working when it's launched.
I mean,
so it's not that they're purposely making bad games. It's that their standard is we have to get it out. We have to get it out.
Yeah, there's probably a ton of games that would be a little better if they didn't have time constraints. But if they didn't have time constraints, there's a lot of games that would never come out because they'd never be done.
Well, now, I'm not talking about that, James. Like, obviously, Battlefield 4, like the company, they rush it out. So I'm mad at the publisher company for just pushing it out. Whatever. But I'm saying for most games, I'm saying, okay, like the game that came out, the little space game. What is it called? Lunar Lifeless Planet.
Lifeless Planet.
I was looking up on a lot of forums. There's so much hate. Like, oh, it's such a horrible game. Like, the developer, just wanted to get this out at easy access. I'm like, do you know the guy? Like, do you know the guy? Do you think he's really trying to make a crappy game? Like, you think he's going to spend 2 or 3 years of his life to make the worst game he's ever made? No.
But we're not talking about new developers. We're talking about big, AAA stuff.
Yeah, but that can still happen.
Like THQ going under because
Well, let's use example of just middle of the road games. Homefront, the Homefront game. I honestly thought that was a good game. I played it, enjoyed it. I'm not going to go back to it. And I agree with most of the reviews I read. Like, it didn't innovate in any capacity. I mean, it was average to good on pretty much everything it did, but I still enjoyed it and played it. But that's considered to be a failure because it was just good. Like, it was just
It also didn't market that well.
They spent tons of money on marketing, but I think they just spent it on maybe not in the right way.
Like, well.
But
I
remember a lot of magazine ads for that game.
And billboards and stuff. You know, that new media everyone's talking about. Magazines and billboards.
I guess it's just talking about the general
QR
humanity.
codes.
I think it's more just general humanity in the last 5 years. Like, even my wife, who, where she works, it's like people are just more and more rude. But I guess, I mean, like, okay, I'm thinking, okay, when I was like 13 or 14, like, N64 is still out, right? I remember playing Banjo-Kazooie for the first time. It's like, we saw a commercial here or there, and it was awesome. But it's like the amount of hate and the amount of people that enjoy just hating on stuff or feel like they should. It's like, I need to voice my opinion because I can. It's like for so much. It's like, come on, guys.
It's the
Stop
vocal
assuming
minority,
everyone.
though.
Yeah,
it's the vocal minority. Most people are pretty nice when they play games. Most people are easy to get along with. Like, how many actual jerks have we met so far?
Yeah.
I mean, we have the CSG community events, and so whoever can join the TeamSpeak who wants to. Like, we have no filter on who can join. And it's not 15, 13-year-olds screaming about what they're going to do to my mother. Like, most people you meet are nice and respectful. Now, a lot of the disrespectful people do seem to congregate in certain games on certain platforms. The stereotype of Call of Duty on the Xbox 360 is a stereotype for a reason. For whatever reason, that's where all the racist,
It's also one of the highest played games, so that's
true. Exactly. See, as a player,
there's not that many people playing ARMA 3 compared to Call of Duty.
Exactly. No, that's my point I'm going to make. Is when a community is smaller and it's harder to get into, like when the required level of dedication is lower, or what am I trying to say? The learning curve. When the learning curve is higher, it's harder to get into. You're mostly going to have people who are actually passionate about it, who are very interested in it, and who want to help make the community better. Let's say like Battlefield 2. A couple years go by and you put out Battlefield 3 and you're like, this is going to be the most accessible Battlefield ever. It plays like Call of Duty but better. It looks like Call of Duty but better, and we want it to be a huge success. And it is a huge success, and millions of new people start playing it. Well, your player base expands, and then you all of a sudden have tons of people who never would have played the game when it was more hardcore or whatever, are playing it now, and just because of that, you have tons more people that you don't want to play the game. Dave and I have talked about it recently. I don't think the major problem with Battlefield right now is actually the game. I think they fixed Battlefield 4 for the most part. The problem now is the community's just gone to crap. Like, the community is not worth playing with now.
That and bloat. The game is too bloated. It needs a good trimming down. It's too much.
Yes. So, I mean, it's what are you going to do? And that's what happens with most games. Like Counter-Strike Go is still pretty good. It's still, I guess, hardcore enough that it's pretty good. When Team Fortress 2 went free to play, though, it had tons of problems with just the load of crap people were bringing on the game. When you have a small community, it's easier to control it. When it blows up, you have tons more awesome people, but then you just hear a lot more from the vocal minority as the vocal minority becomes more and more people. Let's use Dave as an example. Dave, the racist middle schooler who yells things on the internet. No. Dave now has a decent...
I bought a good microphone just for that, actually.
He has a decent amount of subscribers now. Like, his channel is moving on up. Well done, Dave. And Dave has some series that people really enjoy watching. But there's some very consistent people on those series. We don't know why they're still here. They seem to really not enjoy it, but they come back every time for no particular reason. And they show up every time just to let Dave know they're not happy with how he's doing stuff. And whether it's by hammering that dislike button, guys, or leaving a negative comment so Dave can cry himself to sleep. But, like, his community's grown big enough that there's pretty much consistently at least one person who has something nasty or stupid to say about everything Dave does. And out of Dave's, 19,500 subscribers, probably over 19,000 of them are pretty cool people. And then some number of those 500 for whatever reason, just can't watch stuff and move on. They have to voice their terrible opinions.
I'm pretty sure that 10% of my subscriber base is still here just to remind me of the correct pronunciation of cavalry. I still get one of those a week. It hasn't sunk in yet, guys. Keep them coming. It's cavalry, right?
Yeah. So anyway, we'll move on to the next bit now. Rise. Oh no, sorry. Joel, was this your thing in here?
Yeah.
What's the Samsung Gear VR headset?
Well, it was just announced by Samsung that they're coming out with a VR headset, and this one's kind of unique, and I think it's going to be another huge step if it does decent, or at least this is what I'm hoping to see with the Morpheus and Oculus eventually down the road, because I mean this is going to be hopefully where it's all going to go. But theirs is powered by a Samsung Galaxy Note. I forget which one it is. It's whatever the newest one is, but it's a certain size. I think it's a 5.7 or the 5.1 inch one, right? But you literally just pull off the front lid of it, snap the phone in, and as soon as it snaps in, it detects it's like, the proximity sensor, whatever, and it switches immediately to 3D mode. So it's completely powered by the phone, so you don't have any cables, no wires or anything. And when it comes out, it's going to have kind of pre-built demos and stuff in it. Like there's like a Coldplay concert in 3D that you can experience. And I was reading an article, and the guy says it's just amazing. Like you forget where you are, and you're like, hey, wow, I'm like really close. It feels like you're standing right there in the front of the stage. They have like other like 360 demos of you can kind of look around and stuff like that. But what I thought was interesting, Oculus, it's actually powered by Oculus. So Oculus actually worked with Samsung for the last year on this product. So what I thought was interesting about that is that Oculus is not just out to make their own amazing VR. They want VR as a whole to work really well, because I think if it works well in other areas, they're going to do well, and this can become something that solidifies in the market and be something we all can enjoy using. That's going to stay. I hope it doesn't come out and it just goes away really quickly, because I've been looking forward to this like my entire life, being able to do this kind of cool experience. But yeah, I like. That's awesome that you can just play wirelessly. I hope they figure out a method to do that for the Morpheus or something like that. Now, honestly, I think the only company that probably has the fastest streaming right now is actually the Nintendo Wii U. I don't know what trickery and magic they do, but it's incredible.
It's called low-quality graphics.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I know what the trickery is.
Well, no, it's streaming at 720p. It's the same as the Steam does for like the Steam streaming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the graphic intensity of the actual games is...
Yeah, what all the stuff for the actual games, Nintendo always runs scaled... Everything on their games is scaled down, whether it's the physics simulation or
everything else. But I mean, Wind Waker is still pretty... Well, I mean, I wouldn't say just
I guarantee you, if you took a PS4 and then let's assume you could play a PS3 game on it without the whole like having to port it because they run different processors and stuff. Let's just assume like a PS4 could run a PS3 game at 5 times the FPS or whatever because it's so much more powerful. I bet it could stream a PS3 game super well because it's way more powerful than it needs to be for a PS3
No, but I
game.
don't think it is, though, because you can play 2D games from the PS4 to your Vita, and it still has lag.
Oh,
doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter what. No, it doesn't. Like,
well, it's not using Wi-Fi, is it?
It's. I mean, they have a patent on whatever they use for Wii U.
But I'm saying it's not like going to your home router.
No, it's going directly from the Wii.
That's why it's fast, because
that's why. Yeah, it's going from the Wii U directly.
Well, the trickery has been revealed.
So I mean, however they do, whatever that is. But I'm saying that would be cool to see the Morpheus do. So it's not going through Wi-Fi, so you could have that speed. Because if they're going to want to do it,
Morpheus
at least
isn't going to go through Wi-Fi.
Well, it has a cable.
Is it?
So yeah, it's gonna. Well, right now the dev kits have a cable, but I don't know if I just can't imagine them doing it, because I mean you're gonna have to charge it some way. So they either charge it. I hope it's wireless, and I hope Oculus becomes wireless, because for people that are going to be looking around and those things you could run in, they have to set up these really complicated gears above their head, because the more times you turn around, all of a sudden you find the cord gets ripped because it gets tangled on something. But anyways, I thought it was pretty cool. It was neat that Oculus was supporting this other VR headset, and that's good to see. Mm-hmm. That's all I had.
No, I think it is cool, and I think it's cool that Samsung sees where they can do something interesting with the phone, because it is such a high DPI display. You can put it right in front of your eyes, and it would still look really good. And it doesn't require a ton of hardware you may not already own. It's also interesting, Samsung, also with their Note, I think it's called the Note Edge they just unveiled, where it's got like a little curved screen, like say this is the Note. So imagine it's like, the screen is 2 inches bigger than this. that it has a little curved screen that comes over on the side. Like the main screen curves over on the edge, and this little curved thing on the side brings up your toolbars and everything else, and you can like thumb through notifications and stuff. But then when you don't need
really
it,
cool.
it's just completely black. So yeah, they're trying some interesting things with it.
I don't see the point of having a VR set for a Note, so.
Well, it depends on what you can use it for. Like the concert, maybe. If you could now link that up to your PC, I bet someone will come up with PC drivers for it. You know, that'd be really cool.
I mean, it's cool to be able to do that on the go, but I don't know.
I think it's
what I would
not
rather
gonna
see
come.
is like glasses. You kind of like Google glasses you can actually see through, but use a device to actually
Oh, that'd be cool.
be able to project stuff.
I want to
And
be
you
able to
could
hang an iPad off the front of my face.
I bet they make helmets you can put on that, like kind of like a beer helmet, but it's the iPad helmet.
Did you ever see the guy's cheap VR headset he did with the Wii U gamepad? He like put this rubber band around the gamepad around his head. It was just like his face right close to the screen because it has, you know, some games you look around. So he's like, "Yeah, this is awesome." I don't think the Samsung Gear is going to do very well, only because it's going to cost so much because you're going to have to buy the device plus a freaking phone. Now, if they could take that phone and just include it into the thing, I think that's a good idea because eventually, honestly, all you have to do is just replace that device and the rest of the headset works fine. Because on the side of the headset, it has little touch buttons and stuff that interact with the Bluetooth in the phone, so you can actually aim at things and tap a button to select menus and stuff, which is a cool idea. But I mean, that's where VR needs to go. Like, you cannot have all these
your
cables
phone like this.
I'm just saying, for it to go into the
Call mom.
scroll through the contacts.
This is so much easier than your fingers. This is the future. Wait, you can press the buttons with your tongue? Well, it's like you see people that'll sit there and like try to
guys,
use their...
the things people are gonna do with this video feed.
Like if people will sit around with like their Kinect and they'll try to scroll desperately for like 3 minutes instead of just clicking the button. Or with Siri, oh man, the things that people have tried to do with Siri that they could have just navigated to. Siri, make a calendar appointment. What would you like to do? Siri, make a calendar appointment for such and such day. I don't know who that is. Just like for 10 minutes. You know, I don't think the future isn't quite as there as we want it to be when it comes to that stuff. But,
I mean, from a lot of stuff that I've read about Oculus and Morpheus, it is pretty darn incredible. Like I watched this video of a bunch of really old people playing with Oculus for the first time, and dude, their faces are pretty awesome. It's like they're just amazed. There's one, it was like they got to explore this house in Italy somewhere, and this older guy who can't walk very well, he wants to buy one because. For people who can't walk or maybe stuck in a hospital, these are people who could be able to experience walking or exploring again or things like that or a ride. Like I watched this guy ride a roller coaster and he was terrified. I mean, that happens to a lot of people. I think Dave is going to be terrified using the VR. I mean, literally terrified. Because some people have serious vertigo.
I'm already stocking up on adult underwear.
This seems like how we get
have a
into
hard
the world
time
of the
using
Matrix,
things,
though. This seems how the Matrix happens.
I
Guys,
know.
it's really awesome. You don't have to go and do the thing anymore. You can just put on the glasses. It's okay. They just want to stick one little probe in just to monitor the energy of your spinal cord. It's okay, guys. They just want you to sleep in this vat of goo. It's okay, guys. We're all dead.
Is the Vet of Goo DLC available now? I want to upgrade.
Only if it's Dr.
Get
Pepper
the season
flavored.
pass.
The season's the rest of your life.
Said Dave playing Stalker with the VR headset.
No,
I need
Dave
to get a
playing
heart
anything with a
monitor.
VR headset is him just going to be going, guys, look at these textures. Guys, the tree
And
models,
he won't
guys.
move. He'll just stay there. He won't move because it'll be
Enhance.
And everyone else will be like
Enhance.
off having adventures, and Dave will just be in the corner staring at stuff, up like going, ooh.
I want you to record yourself playing these games, Dave. If you ever get a VR headset,
Dude, I'll probably get one first, so I'm going to have Dave over here playing Amnesia 2.
Please record it.
Oh, of course I'll film that thing. It's going to be gold. It's going to be a lot of screaming and squealing and crying. Not sure why I said squealing.
Dave squealing at Joel's house. All right.
Sorry. Joel, vamp for a second. I'm typing.
Okay, the last thing I was going to say on VR was, if you ever want to watch a really interesting thing just about development and how do you get something to the market that's not just a niche market? Like, VR, there's been people for 15, almost 20 years exploring ideas with VR, and you get it. But to get it really to work as well in the same way as like Facebook is.
Second dinner?
Joy, when are you going to walk into my frame? Jeez.
What's going on over there, Joel? What you got?
Maybe 2 burritos.
Man.
What?
Oh.
So good. So hungry. No. Dave, oh no, he's coming over. No, but like, what?
You just took the AR off the wall.
No, I was like, iPhones brought the second coming of touchscreens. They brought it into the casual marketplace where anyone can use a touchscreen. Like, it's just crazy how fast touchscreens took over everything. It's just like, you can't find anything without a touchscreen.
Once we got good touchscreens, once we got capacitive touch.
Yeah, two finger touch, all that kind of stuff. But I think with VR, being able to have no wires, being able to be very comfortable on your head, to last for a good amount of time, all that is going to be huge when it comes out, because if it's not like that immediately, it's just not going to sell. Like, it's not going to be taken seriously. So, but I hope it is, because I love that kind of stuff, and I can't wait for interesting stuff. Like, someone already made a Millennium Falcon mod. Like, you can walk around the Millennium Falcon and just explore Star Wars stuff. I'm like, I can't wait to do that.
I want a No Man's Sky.
All right, 33 minutes into the podcast. We're on news item number 3.
This one will go quickly.
Rise, Son of Rome is being released on the PC because it did so well on the Xbox One.
Do people want to play it on the PC?
I don't know. It's going to be It's going to be $40. We get all the bonus content from the Xbox One version. And
bonus.
We also get 4K resolution support, which they've talked about a bunch. So now they have released the system specs, and it's interesting. Okay, so the minimum specs are about what you would expect. Vista, Windows 7, or Windows 8. You need a dual core, 4 gigs of RAM, a gig of video RAM on a DirectX 11 graphics card, and 26 gigs of hard drive space.
4 gigs is pretty high for a minimum.
Just for regular RAM? No, that's pretty normal these days.
Is it?
Yeah. So there's that. And then the recommended specs are also Vista, Windows 7, or Windows 8 64-bit. They recommend an Intel quad-core or an AMD octo-core, 8 gigs of RAM, DirectX 11 graphics card with 4 gigs of video RAM, 26 gigs of hard drive space, and a DirectX compatible sound card.
That's crazy.
Well, now, if you want to play with 4K, they say you need a quad-core or 8-core CPU with actual 8 logical processors, not 8 threads, 8 gigs of RAM again, a DirectX 11 graphics card with 4 gigs of video RAM, 64-bit operating system, and a 4K monitor. And then for this one, they also list a Steam account and an internet connection will be required for this one. So here's what I find interesting in system requirements, and I don't know why people still do this. The recommended requirements say you need a DirectX 11 graphics card with 4 gigs of video RAM.
That's pretty freaking high.
But it is, but for 4K, you also need a graphics card with 4 gigabytes of video RAM. The RAM for the graphics card is not like the important thing there. What type of graphics card you get is way more important. You can buy an old, crappy video card, not super old, but oldish graphics card with 4 gigs of video RAM that's not going to be nearly as fast as a modern one. And people are going to think they have the recommended specs to play at 4K.
Yeah.
I mean, Dave, you want to chime in here?
Well, the thing about RAM on a graphics card is it's very deceptive.
Exactly.
Video memory is pretty cheap compared to building more processing units on the GPU itself. Tossing more RAM units on there is way, way cheaper. But if you have 4 gigs of video memory on your graphics card, but your card can't fill that memory fast enough, most of it is going to sit idle anyway.
Yeah, but here, I'm looking up right now. I'm trying to find some that have 4 gigs of video memory. Okay,
Nice.
a GeForce GT 640 with 4 gigs of memory you can buy. A GT 640 is a crappy card. I mean, it's an okay card, but it's not like a 4K card. You can get a GTX 760 with 4 gigs of memory. That's not going to game at 4K. Lots of 760s. Asus R9 270X with 4 gigs of RAM. Can't game at 4K with that. When you get up to GTX 770 with 4 gigs of RAM, now you're looking at you can play older games at 4K at okay frame rates. Okay, a Sapphire Radeon R7 240 with 4 gigs of RAM. Like, that's designed for, I'm not exactly sure, but, you know, there's no, I think it's dumb we're still going by that. Some, you know, some games still use the system requirements thing where they say you need a AMD like R9 series graphics card and a GTX 800 series or 700 series or higher, you know, something like that, which gets you at least somewhat closer. But I don't know. I understand why Microsoft did the whole system rating thing in Windows Vista. I can see why they came up with that, because the way we've been doing it just does not tell you all the information you need to make an informed decision.
Yeah, can I comment on that?
Yeah,
that's one thing that has always frustrated me with computers.
It's
just
one of the
PC gaming, right?
Gaming has. Yep.
Yeah, well, I kind of wish their standards were okay. Let's say I'm making a game like Crysis, right? Instead of saying, "Oh, minimum requirements," what's that? What does that even mean, right? Okay, and what does actual being able to play the game actually mean? I can play Battlefield 4 at Ultra, right? Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, at 15 frames per second. Does that actually mean playing it? Well, we're playing DayZ at 14 frames a second sometimes. So it's like, so is that playing the game, right? So what I get frustrated and what I enjoyed consoles sometimes is, you know, if you know, like Metro, the new Metro game, they say, oh, it's going to come out at 60 frames, right? I love Borderlands 2 on PC because they have the option to limit your frames. So honestly, when I play the game, I know I'm actually going to have a very consistent playable experience on it. Mm-hmm. But most games on PC, I don't know if I ever will. Like, I know I have a pretty kick-ass computer for most games, mm-hmm. but even on regular high-end, there's never a guarantee like I'm going to be able to play it VSynced at anything, ever. Yeah. Like, I can never tell, because it's like, oh yeah, requirements. What does that mean? I wish they almost did like, here's default 1080p requirements. They said at 1080p you have a CPU, GPU, and this like this. It would tell you, oh, you're gonna get a good average between 40 to 60 or something like that. I don't know. Like, I wish there was an easier way to tell what you're gonna get.
Well, that's the problem.
There's NVIDIA experience.
What? Yeah, I mean, there are things people try, like NVIDIA experience, and the Windows, whatever it's called, the computer rating they'll give you.
They got rid of that.
They did?
Didn't they? I think they did with 8.
Dave, do you have it in Windows 8?
I think it's gone, yeah, in an 8. Because like no one was actually using that.
Gone? What is gone?
The thing
Windows
that would give
experience.
You, your user experience index would rate you from like 0 to 7.9 on a bunch of things.
I did like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't really that helpful though. But I mean, Joel, the problem is like the minimum specs are if you want to play the game on the lowest settings, basically if you want to look like a console and run like a console, 30 FPS, low settings, lower resolution, you're going to need at least this. So that's the barrier to entry. If you don't have this, sorry, you just can't play this game. The recommended specs, from my understanding, has always been you can run it at an average resolution at like medium to medium high settings pretty smoothly. If you want to run everything all the way up, that's kind of up to you. You have to have something way better than the recommended specs most of the time. Like, they're not recommending it. It's not if you want to play it on the absolute ultra settings, because a lot of those ultra settings, as you've commented, not directly, but you've kind of said it, they are not as well optimized as the lower settings. Like the high-end stuff, there's not as much effort put into it, and they just let you brute force it with your super overpowered computer. So if you don't have a super overpowered computer, you probably are better off playing it medium or medium high, which on most games still looks awesome. Like, if you actually downgrade, totally you can downgrade. Like, I think I just tried this out of curiosity. When I played Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, I had 2 Radeon 7950s, so 2 pretty good cards. But Crossfire just wasn't. The game, it was right after the release, and the game had a lot of stability issues, and I really just wasn't getting the benefit out of my second card, so I was experimenting dropping the settings down. But if I dropped down to medium, I got like a 50% increase in my FPS, and the game really didn't look a ton different. Like, the shadows were a little worse, the vegetation wasn't quite as lush or whatever, but then you play it for 10 minutes and you forget about all that, and you're just having fun, and you don't notice anymore.
I don't forget.
And that right there sums up my console experience. It's like, I know I really enjoy the convenience of things booting on time and they just work, and then like, because okay, Last of Us, if you can change the setting between 60 and 30, and when you turn on 30, the shadows get twice as good. But it's like so minimal that it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. You're playing the game and it's like whatever, you know. So I would rather just have the 60, and it working really smooth than trying to have slightly better graphics. But anyways, I hope, and I like that Borderlands 2 did it, and there was I'm trying to remember what other game there was, but I wish Battlefield or something like that had more options to be able to limit. So if you can't run at 60, but they have a 30 lock or something with motion blur or whatever, just so that you could have a better, consistent experience on PC, because I hate the interlace. I hate it so much, So I won't play at 1440p if I can't get it locked at least, and that's one thing I've always enjoyed on consoles is even if the game sways between 30 and 60, they still manage to have the screen locked on most games. Dark Souls definitely not, but a lot of games, because they hide the VSync tear line at the very top pixel, however they do it. But so I wish some of that kind of stuff would be on PC, just because I would feel more confidence going, all right, I'm fine with playing the next game. Because I do want to play the game on as high as possible. I mean, that's the only reason I would like to play on PC if possible, If I'm going to be playing mouse and keyboard and sitting upright in a chair for who knows how many hours, I'd want it to look as best as possible. So, but I wish they had more options like that,
Well, and that's,
or easier way to tell.
The hope of Steam machines,
Well, that's what I was hoping, but they're not. That's not going to happen. But
probably not. But I'm going to remain hopeful, but skeptical. But Steam machines could be a real revolution in PC gaming, or it could be nothing. But
now, could you imagine if you bought a Steam machine? Right, let's say everyone's case is pretty much similar, right? Let's just say it's a PS4 console like box, right? But literally every year, if they have, or every year and a half, they have a really serious video card upgrade. You just pull it out, swap it in. So that system is going to last for 3 or 4 years, because you can easily upgrade things like RAM or whatever. But when you go there, it has the official, kind of like when Nintendo had the official stamp of approval, but it would have the official Steam approval. People would know exactly what they're buying. Oh, I've got the $100 video card. I want to buy the $500 video card, and they could easily have numbers or whatever to say, you're going to play this game really freaking well, But whatever. I don't think they'll do that, but
no, I could see that happening in 10 years. I think we could have a system like that. I don't think that's going to happen this time. Progress is slow and stuff like that. I mean, if you look at the huge changes that happened between just the PS3 and the PS4 in that 7-year time period, but that was 7 years. So year to year, also with the PC, if PCs only had new video cards every 7 years, people would be blown away by how much more powerful computers were. But since you get incremental upgrades all the time, it doesn't feel like, oh, the next generation's here now. So I think if you're just waiting for when's the cool thing going to come out, that's never going to happen. But if you look back 10 years from now, you'll be blown away at how far things have come in that time.
I wonder, though, if developers were working on cards that lasted longer, would they find more ways to optimize? Since PC graphics cards can be upgraded so frequently, since
they can.
technology,
You don't have to, though. If you
don't have to, but when you release a new game, they want to
by the
push.
time they're gone.
I've said this a lot, but I still maintain you do not need to upgrade as often as we do. You only need to do that if you want to play on the absolute highest settings. If you are okay with a good experience, which is still way better than the graphics you're going to get on a console, you could buy a $200 video card every 3 years and you would be totally fine. We like to play on the cutting edge, though. That's why we spend so much money. But there are tons of people who are playing with $10 mice, $10 keyboards on 1280 by 1024 monitors with 4 gigs of RAM and dual cores and 8800 GTs who are still playing the same games we are. Not super fast or anything, but they're still playing them and enjoying them. So I don't know. You don't need to upgrade that often. So
no, but I wonder though if that upgrading wasn't existent.
Now,
if developers would find ways to push current technology.
So you're saying maybe
further.
If NVIDIA,
kind of like what happens with consoles, the first few games they look good. Well, by the time the end of the life cycle happens, they're really, really pushing the console more so than thought possible.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Last of Us just came out and it looks pretty fantastic.
So maybe if NVIDIA only released their new series of cards every 2 years instead of every year.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I think
you'd get more of a they would find ways to utilize the power, because it is pretty nuts how you can get freaking GTA 5 on almost 8 years old console, and
256 megs at RAM.
Yeah, I thought that's just ridiculous. I don't know how they crypto do it. This one Sony conference I was listening to is Mark Kearney, who's the developer or the main lead designer of the PS4. He was saying that the last console generation lasted quite a while, but you know why it was able to last? Well, we didn't have cell phones changing every year back then. You know what I mean? So people weren't as used to going, oh, my phone's already, crap, I got to update. It's been 6 months, But now it is. And so they're really worried. They wanted to make something that could last for a long period of time, but that developers know this is a set standard, to develop on. But they're very nervous because it's like they weren't sure if it was going to do well because everyone expects to get a new iPhone every year or every 2 years or whatever it is. So, but their PS4 is not going to be updating every 1-2 years. I don't think this generation will last as long as the last one because I think that's just how the market is, I think, now. But it's selling better than the PS2 is right now at launch, so which is nuts.
Yeah, that is nuts. I doubt it's going to sell as many consoles total as the PS2 did, but it's selling very well right now, so good on them. Payday 2 is coming out with the Gauge Assault Pack. I'm really only mentioning it because we enjoy Payday 2 so much and we need to play more of it. They've a new DLC called the Gauge Assault Pack will have 4 weapons, 28 mods, 4 masks, materials, patterns, and melee weapons. 28 mods, masks, materials, patterns, and melee weapons. 10 new achievements. So that's pretty cool.
I love what it stands for.
What?
The swipe on Hardline.
Yeah, if you just check out the Payday site. They're just making fun of Hardline.
Oh, really?
It's like a guy.
It's Battlefield 4, not Hardline.
Is it? Are you sure?
It's no. The
whole part
literally said they were making fun of Hardline.
Hardline? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
the colors were
Hardline's like a crappy version of Payday 2 mixed with a Battlefield game. So,
yeah, it's a riff on their marketing.
Prejudgy.
Sorry.
We played the game, Dave.
The Hardline beta is like a crappy ripoff of Payday 2 crossed with a Battlefield game. The launch game might be significantly different, and I look forward to hearing what other people have to say about it.
Looking forward to hear what Dave says when he buys it on the day one.
Okay, so
only the reviews are good.
Easily one of the dumbest news stories this week. I hopefully you guys thought this was dumb when you saw it in the list. Okay, BioWare, I think Mass Effect 1 was the first game they did to do this. They added romance things. So you could, as you move through the game, you could romance different characters. And everyone remembers the huge controversy because a PG-13 sex scene was stuck in a game, and Fox News called it a sex simulator that was teaching the young ones how to make love to aliens. That blew over quickly. But for whatever reason, BioWare keeps shoehorning these weird romance things into all of their games, or it seems like all of their RPGs at least. And they've just released the romance guide for Dragon Age Inquisition.
That's what I was waiting for.
So this is on their official forums. Let's take a moment to talk about romance in Dragon Age Inquisition, shall we?
What the heck?
Do you think they're going to start having advice sites and stuff?
It's quite valid to ask, why reveal which characters can be romanced at all? Isn't it better to leave the mystery and let players discover romances as they play? While some players understandably prefer to start games completely unspoiled, the truth is Dragon Age Inquisition is huge. The story takes a great deal of time to unfold, as do the relationships players develop with followers. As a result, you can play the game for a significant length of time before discovering that a follower just isn't interested in having sex with you. Oh, sorry, interested in falling in love with you. So then they list all of their, we have Cassandra, interested in male characters. Blackwall is interested in female characters. Josephine is interested in both male and female characters. And it just goes on, like that.
Why aren't you guys taking notes for your next playthrough?
I don't know if I really need to say what I think. I already
bought the guide. I was at GameStop earlier, guys. I bought
the hard copy collector's edition, the gilded cover.
I don't feel like we all need to go around in a circle and talk about what we think is stupid petals. About this. Did you guys... Well, I know Dave didn't play Mass Effect. Joel, you've played the Mass Effect games, right?
Oh, yeah.
James?
Yes.
Okay. Is it just me, or the people you can fall in love with, the interactions with them seemed way more awkward and forced than everyone else you meet. You meet your assistant, I forget which game it in, maybe game 3, Mass Effect 3, and the very first time you talk to her, she's throwing you the eyes and just Commander, would you like me to feed your goldfish? It's what on earth? Like it's not like
I went for the blue chick. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
I did the same thing as well.
no, that's all right. This conversation's derailing fast.
Hi, Joy.
Yeah, you guys are bed brothers.
Maybe you aren't the best people to
She
have.
was
this
she was
discussion
the
with.
least annoying person.
That's
But-
how you choose
but
your
that-
mate.
Well,
you'll do.
Well, the other girl,
young
what was her
children.
name? There was what's the younger guy who's in your team, and there's the other girl. I forget her name. She died.
Caden and Ashley.
Yeah, Caden and Ashley. Yeah. Well, at the end of the first game, that choice, and I thought I was trying to keep both of them alive. But I can't remember. I think I was actually trying to keep the guy alive because he was cooler than the girl. But then the girl ended up living or something like that. But yeah.
So
Anyways.
my experience with that was interesting. I did not pursue any romance in Mass Effect, but the problem is you do get benefits from being friends with all of your crew. Like after every mission, I would go around and talk to all the crew because if they needed anything like parts for their weapons or they had a problem with another crew member or whatever, if you go through all those options, it unlocks their loyalty missions and you can just develop the whole crew. And it's a really cool crew. And so I enjoyed doing all that, but the problem is the certain characters who are the romance options, as you work through the normal story stuff and go talk to them, like, you can't just have a normal friendship with them. It has to progress along the romance storyline after a point. Like, you just can't be friends with them unless it's going to be more than friends, which is so stupid. Like, I'd be talking to everyone after a mission, and then all of a sudden, like, the switch flips after this particular mission, and I'm talking to one of my crew members, and, they're throwing you the eyes again and dropping these terrible...
Those crazy eyes.
The terrible innuendos and stuff, and it's just like, geez, guys. I don't know. It seems like really, like, pandering. They're pandering a little too hard to, I don't know, the middle schoolers and high schoolers who are playing the M-rated game, but... I think this is the first time they've released a romance guide, so I don't know. The neckbeards can, get wet with anticipation.
You mean greasy?
Okay, let's just go with greasy.
They get
Gosh.
greasy with anticipation.
Oh my gosh. Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
all the McDonald's fat frying oil in their veins starts getting all bubbly.
Yeah,
I can't wait to go back and watch all three of us. I saw all three of us go. At the same time.
Pierre de Sloth brought up something good in chat. She said, I should have played male Shep. The femme Shep relationships are all garbage. I agree. I played my character for the Mass Effect games. I pretty much role-played as Starbuck from the Battlestar Galactica series. Like, I made a character look pretty much just like her, and then I tried to make all decisions like, how would Starbuck make them? But slightly deeper than, get drunk and yell at stuff, which is mostly what she does in the series. But that became a problem when I was trying to be loyal to my crew. Yeah, because all the romance options were, it sucked. Anyway,
Okay.
Dave,
Mass
have you
Effect-
still not watched that series?
Battlestar?
Yeah.
No, he hasn't.
No comment.
Dave, I just finished ripping all of my Battlestar Blu-rays. If you would like to borrow the Blu-rays,
Ooh.
would you like to borrow the Blu-rays?
Speaking of getting greasy,
So when we're all down at the beach, when we come to the beach, I will bring the Blu-rays and you may borrow them for a time.
do they come in a golden chest?
They come in a silver, big silver box.
James, isn't that amazing that he owns that?
It is amazing.
That
Why is
really
that
does
amazing?
it ups the friendship value.
I bought it day one. The first day it was
Oh my
available.
gosh.
That and Lord of the Rings Blu-ray, like day one. It was like,
Yeah.
this is just...
Same here. Well, I guess
own-
not day one. I got it as soon as I could.
I own like 6 Blu-rays. And those are, some things you just got to have them. Joel, you didn't put a time code in for the last news story.
Oh, my bad.
I'm going to downgrade how much money I'm paying you.
That's 58, so probably, we'll say 55.
Okay, so Dave, here's a bit of news you might be interested in. Although, were you going to say something snarky, Joel, about the
No,
snarky thing said to
I
you?
was actually going to comment last on Mass Effect 2. The person I liked the most in Mass Effect 2 was actually that green dude. I was like, you know what? I hate all the options of the girls. So I was like, that guy was just cool. He got a cool voice, sweet sniper rifle. I'm like, all right, we'd be good.
So he just wooed you over with his
Yeah, I
cool
know.
looks and all of his
I know.
toys. You're like,
But then, like,
ooh!
he had the cool moves. So I was like, all right.
He had the right moves.
but-
Joel walks into the barracks. Hey, nice rifle.
Cool moves. He's an alien. That's sweet. What type of alien moves did he have, Joel?
You're getting weird, man. You're getting weird.
Okay, so Dave, you've said repeatedly you are not interested in a 4K monitor until what happens?
I win the lottery.
No. okay, maybe you don't remember this. You've said numerous times.
Joel pays me
Money
for my
aside.
visual effects work.
they have to become cheaper and be IPS. There have to be good
Yes.
IPS ones. Okay, your wish is now coming true, kind of. $1,300 isn't like super
You
cheap.
start with like a wish.
Whoa.
Here, your wish came true, little Susan.
no, but-
kind of.
last year, Dell came out with a 4K 24-inch IPS monitor, but it was a kind of crappy. It was $1,300, but there goes James. It was $1,300, but it was 2 displays stitched together, so it had the color banding issues and everything else. But it was $1,300, and then quickly it started dropping in price because people weren't buying them, and you can get them for $600 on sale sometimes now. Well, now Dell has introduced the Ultra Sharp UP2414Q. Why can't they just come out with good names for these
That's
things?
catchy.
Yeah, exactly. But this is an IPS single panel display, 24-inch, 4K, gorgeous, like the construction of it looks really, really nice. It's
All
got
Dell screens make me happy.
DisplayPort, mini DisplayPort, HDMI, and 4K at 60 hertz with swivel, tilt, rotate, and height tweaking. And it looks really, really awesome. And it's $1,300 and coming out very shortly. Now, you do have the same problems that you have with other 4K displays, is that no operating system properly scales stuff yet. Even Windows 8.1 doesn't do that good of a job. So, I don't know that you should buy this. If there was some way to have one so that like it would automatically just switch to 4K when you loaded a game, that'd be really cool. And you could just run your desktop at 1080 or something. But yeah, I'm hoping Windows 9 is supposed to be unveiled this month and released early next year, and it's got to have good scaling. I mean, I can't imagine the next major version of Windows wouldn't have proper scaling, considering that their Windows 8 tablets are higher resolution than most desktops are now. They've got to get to the scaling sooner or later. So,
Yeah, I don't think $1,300 is worth it yet, just because you're gonna have probably a subpar 4K gaming experience. Like,
right.
I
Well,
mean,
if
like
you're
with Dave's
13
computer right now.
If you're spending
His computer's not gonna handle it.
If you're spending $1,300 on a monitor, you probably have $1,300 of video cards. Or you're like me, I want to get a 4K monitor as soon as there's a good one available, and the desktop scaling gets there for graphic design and photography work, and then I can still game at 1080p. Like if my card couldn't handle gaming at 4K smoothly yet, I'll game at 1080p. I don't care. It'd be a good-looking 24-inch screen. But yeah, I definitely am not ready
For me,
to game
being
at 4K
a
yet.
total graphics whore, though, is I would stick with 1080p for years to come. If it meant I could stick with 60 FPS and all ultra settings, I would actually choose that over resolution.
Like, Dave,
Well,
I
but
would suggest
Dave-
you getting a 1440p monitor whenever you get a chance.
I think it's next, yeah.
Because honestly, it feels way sharper than my last one. It's a huge size and it looks great.
Yeah, but think about this, Dave. If you could game at 1080p at 60 FPS on that monitor, but for all your 3D work, wouldn't it be awesome if you had the super high pixel density? You see what I'm saying?
I'm just gonna lean back in my chair and let that just like wash over me real quick. Yeah.
Joel, could you text James? Could you text James and find out like if his internet went down or something?
Yeah,
it did.
Storm hit.
Okay. Just let me know if he needs me to add him back into the call.
Yeah.
But
He says send me an invite, and he says he'll use his phone.
his phone? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how to invite. Like, I'm not sure how to invite him on
We
his phone.
can't dial him on the air, I don't think.
I
Well,
can.
no.
No, I can.
Oh, you
Yeah,
can?
Call his phone.
Let me throw up. Yeah, let me throw up the engine. I threw up the splash screen image. Joel, can you send me his? Well, no, I have his number.
On
Never
Skype?
mind.
Or do you
Yeah,
have
yeah, I have his number.
Okay.
So Joel, vamp for a minute about 4K.
No, I would. I mean, honestly, I would love to have a 4K monitor. Although the monitor I would actually get is whenever they come out with that slight curved. I just went to Best Buy a couple weeks ago and I saw one of those curved screens for the
You
first
like
time.
those?
I don't think I would like it for everything, but I mean, like if I ever get another TV down the road, I'm not gonna upgrade from 1080p for a long time. It's just because I know the PS4 is they're not gonna do higher resolution for a freaking long time unless they do movies and stuff. But man alive, dude, that curved screen is incredible. Like it feels so crazy awesome. I can't imagine playing a
And
game
they have
like
one
Last of Us,
locally.
Yeah. Check it out at Best Buy. It's kind of mind blowing. It's like, what in the world? But yeah, no, I
always
love
wanted
one.
to see one.
I'll probably
Yeah.
do it for the next film I do if my resolution for my footage can use something like 4K.
You have reached the Sprint voicemail box of...
Oh, hanging up. I'll call him back in a minute.
I'm hoping that we call some
Everyone's gonna call him.
random person.
No, it's the number I have for James.
But no, I mean, I would love to have 4K for the next movie I work on that has higher resolution than 1080p and stuff. Just because you need to have that that screen real estate to work and stuff. This 1440p monitor has just been mind blowing for editing Norman, because I can actually see on my last monitor, I couldn't have the whole film in 1080p full while I'm editing because it's not enough room for the timeline. But now I can at least have it close to 1080p full and be looking at the whole timeline, which is really, really nice. I could just
like most productive people using a computer, you could use a second screen.
Yeah, I know, but I've never been a second screen person. I'm
Vegas has excellent second. Yeah, but Vegas has excellent
really
second screen
me.
support.
Yeah, it does actually.
Vegas works really well with a second screen.
I bet it does. I just hate second screen stuff.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You're a snowflake, Joel.
I think, it's also kind of like my personality. Like, I need to focus on one thing. It's hard for me to have two screens.
You have reached the Sprint voicemail box.
All right. Well, that's just not going to happen.
Okay.
All right.
So, how many cough drops is too many cough drops?
Oh, I don't think that's a thing. So who put in this last news item?
I did, because, Joel, what has Sony been saying about H1Z1? Well, actually, let me back up even further. Besides the fact that it was a crappy game, what was one of my biggest problems with the War Z? As far as their economy went.
Here we go.
Honestly, I really don't know.
Oh, hey, James.
Was it like pay to win?
Hold on, guys.
The pay-to-win stuff.
James, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, are you on your phone or your computer?
I'm on my phone. My internet's down. I think it might be coming back up soon.
Okay. All right. So we're talking about H1Z1, and Dave is asking Joel what Sony has said about loot drops.
Yeah.
About H1Z1, yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
yes.
Like
Going back-
the helicopter airplane loot drops, you mean?
Yeah, the actually, it's good military and like good civilian loot. Like it's
random.
hype.
It's random.
Is it?
Yep, it's completely random.
I had heard that part.
But basically, what you do is you buy it for unknown price, whatever it is, whatever they announce that, and you'll hear a plane fly by. You'll hear a plane fly by.
Wait. You pay for the loot?
You can buy a loot drop. But everyone can see it on the game.
That was the whole news item right there, I guess, was that they're considering making it so you can pay to call it in.
Don't.
Yeah, there's a lot of outrage right now because they've been saying
if
so
they've
long.
already had that thought though, and they've publicly said that thought, it's probably going to happen.
But I guess I don't understand what
It's
the
in the
problem is.
works.
The problem is pay to win. That's the problem.
But but how much fun would that be though on the map though? You see a helicopter drop and you see it flying over. Anyone can get it, so you can pay.
You can do it.
Why
Why you pay?
What's that?
Just have it do it at random. And not give yourself a fair advantage. Like, okay, I just paid. I know it's going to come somewhere, so let's be ready.
That's what it's going to do. That's the thing though.
We'll just all get on this server together when there's only 10 of us, and we'll call it in real quick.
No, but here's something different. There will be no individually servers. It's all official servers though, because they want to monitor them, because they want to add features like being able to add zombies in areas. So if people are doing a crazy amount of tent thing and duping items, they literally can swarm that place with zombies. So it's like, I love that idea. I wish DayZ had more just official standard set rules, and it's not just the Wild West in every freaking server.
Well, right now DayZ's H1Z1 they're talking about the stuff they're going to do like that. They haven't actually done most of it yet, just like DayZ.
Yeah.
When DayZ's done, if they do all the things they're talking about, yeah, it'll be much more stable, and there won't be all the hackers and everything too. But neither of them have achieved that yet.
Yeah. Yeah, but what I enjoy about the developers there is that they're willing to try things, and they don't say, hey, we're definitely doing this, it's going to stay this way. They want to try things like when you die, you might be able to become a zombie, or you might be able to actually play as a zombie on some servers. They want to try to find things what people like, instead of going, hey, we figured out how to make it out of a multiplayer MMO zombie game the first time. They're going, we're figuring this out the same way as you guys. And I think that's
what they're doing.
Yeah, no, that like they are. Like I've watched so many streams.
What they're doing here, what they're doing from behind closed doors is trying to figure out a way to monetize the game.
Yeah.
Well, of course, they're giving the game for free. They have to
I would
figure out a
rather
way to pay.
don't give
Yeah,
it away for
I think
free.
it shouldn't be.
I mean, I would rather they just paid $60 and you're done, or
Exactly.
whatever.
I think most people would. The problem with free to play is free to play without pay to win, and it sounds like H1Z1, they're already having the pay to win discussion. If they've told us this publicly, that means behind closed doors they've probably discussed way more extreme versions of this, and this is just what they've presented. Not that they're going to do it necessarily, but if they're already having that conversation, that bothers me.
If they did it this version, I think is not that bad. I think it would actually be really fun because people who are paying are creating fun for you.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Like,
I want the developers to make their money. I am totally cool with that. I just don't want them to do it this way. One thing you can say about DayZ, they're not having this discussion. Like, Like, I will respect that about them. However frustrating the rest of the game's development might be at times, that they are not going to water it down just to make more money on it, because they haven't had to, and that's just the totally different direction than what they're doing. So.
I just thought that I was actually kind of surprised to see that actually this far along after the announcement of the game too.
Yeah, that does seem odd.
And saying for so long that wasn't ever going to be discussed.
Mm-hmm.
Surprising.
Well, I mean, from the start, they said they were always going to try to find a way to do that, but I don't think it's still paid.
Right, but
that's the thing.
They also said that's you're giving yourself. that it's coming.
Yeah, but it's not going to drop. It's not dropping right over your head, though. That's the thing.
It doesn't matter if you. Okay, let's say we're playing DayZ. We're in the city, right? We're looting inside
I've
buildings.
played DayZ enough. I understand how it works. I've seen the helicopter drops. I know how the game works. I'm saying that's a pretty ingenious way to do it, so that you're paying, but it's still a chance for you.
Let me finish. Let me finish. Since that's not where I'm going with it.
Okay.
If you are in a building looting, you're not paying attention to what's going on outside.
Yeah, of course.
You're paying attention to a helicopter flying over, or airplane, whatever it ends up being, and dropping a loot. If I just paid for it, I know it's coming. Mm-hmm. I'm on the lookout with my little group of people.
Yeah, it does give you an advantage.
And you're going to bring reinforcements, too. It won't just be you going for it. You're going to have your whole group ready to go to all go for it at the same time and be king of the hill.
Anyway.
Yeah, we'll see. I honestly don't think it's that huge of a deal because, people who play DayZ hardcore, they're always looted up and geared. They're always more geared than anyone that you play, pretty much. So it's not really that huge of a difference. It's like, I jump on, you guys have been playing for 2 hours, you're pretty much kitted out, I have no chance against you guys. So what does it really matter?
Well, we paid our dues.
We played legitimately.
Well,
to get there.
and I actually disagree with that. I think in DayZ, someone with a Mosin that they found in a barn with 10 rounds could actually square off against pretty much anyone in the game if they play smart. The only guns that really give you an advantage are like an AK with a 75 round drum mag.
Exactly.
But other than that,
they're talking about doing
job.
supplies and stuff, so it might not necessarily be just full rifles. You might be just getting certain supplies. Things that don't really matter that much. It's like, yay, you have 10 more whatever band-aids. Yippee. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not that huge. So I think it's a cool idea to try it. I think they'll honestly try it and it might change it, I
think my issue, Joel, I don't think it's that every time someone buys one, they're going to have a huge advantage. It's that there's a fundamental shift in how power is gained in the game, just from a foundational design perspective, and that's what bothers me if they go through.
I guess so, but I don't know. I guess you guys' morality is so pushed so quickly when these games oh my god, they got a rifle instead. It's like it's not that huge of a deal overall gameplay wise. It isn't. If they have an M4 and you still have a pistol, you still can take them out though.
But it's like seeing someone cut in line. It's not.
Yeah.
It just pisses you off that you've been
it doesn't. It's not. It's not like pay to win in games is immoral or something. It's a game. As long as you're not actually cheating, it's fine. Everyone can participate along the same way if everyone has the opportunity to buy the stuff. It's a crappy game design that we would wish didn't happen so much.
It's like going to a friendly race, like a 5K or something for charity, and you want to be up front, so you pay an extra $100 to start at the line that's further forward. It's like you may not win the race still, but that's still an advantage that you're getting over everybody else.
But I guess I don't really see it as them winning the game though. Like it's kind of like more to them. They just paid $5 or $10. They have bigger weapons than I do. I don't think that is as much fun. I like looking for mine. But it doesn't really change that much to the game to me though. That's like I don't really care. It's like I don't know. I played the Star Wars Online game and I have like half the XP that everyone else earns. I earn it so much slower, but I don't care. It's like whatever. So I play a little.
But there's no competition. There's no competition in Star Wars though.
In some areas, yeah, they are. Yeah,
you're not really. The whole game is not based around.
No, but
it's not primarily
in some areas. You can in some areas.
Okay, if they're dropping cars and you can't have cars, then that's a legitimate thing. But I think if it's like a weapon or it's like a backpack, that's not a huge deal to the gameplay. It really isn't.
Well, we don't know
It's not
exactly
that
what the
massive.
game. We don't know how balanced the gameplay is going to be yet. We don't know if it's going to be a big deal or not.
I don't know. I guess I play Last of Us multiplayer, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like barely leveled up. All I use is the freaking bow. Everyone else uses these high caliber weapons that are all fully unlocked. I mow through them. I'm
because
good
the
at
game is well balanced. If the game's well balanced, you can
so
do
I'm
that.
saying if H1Z1 is well balanced, it's not going to make huge difference. It's going to be like kind of like in Payday 2. I wish I could just buy weapons right now. So I could be ahead of you guys and have better weapons.
No, in Payday 2, it's
a co-op
different.
game.
Yeah, Payday 2 is a
I know that, but I'm
co-op
saying
only
it's
game,
like
so you can't get an advantage over someone else by paying money. If there was
But
a cops
those
versus
guns in
rob,
Payday 2, though, when you buy higher ones, it's like changes the game because
it
it's
does,
like
but it's a
infinitely
co-op
easier.
game. You're not getting advantage over
Yeah.
another person by doing that.
Yeah,
Anyway,
but adding a few more bullets here or there is not really going to change the game drastically.
Hopefully
it's a
not.
little bit different, but hopefully that it doesn't change it that much. 'Cause then it's not a huge change.
hopefully
I
it's
don't
not
really
that big a
care.
difference.
I mean, it would make me want to buy the little thing if I can get like a few little packages. I'm like that because I just jump on for a few hours. I don't want to play for 20 hours like you guys in DayZ just to loot up because that bores me, But who knows?
Okay, our last news item of the evening, the Stomping Land. Okay, the Stomping Land was an early access multiplayer survival game. That's a popular genre. It was on Steam, and it was $24.99, and you had to survive in a harsh island wilderness, and there were roaming dinosaurs, which people were super excited about. Like well over 3,000 people bought the game. The creator announced that they were shifting to Unreal Engine 4, and then there was a month of silence and no sign of updates, and no one's heard anything, and now the game has been pulled from Steam. And a lot of people are upset now, and 3,000 players have petitioned for refunds from Valve, but Steam subscriber agreements says that Valve is under no obligation to refund the customers for early access game purchases because early access is not a guarantee of a finished game. The Stomping Land earned over $100,000 in Kickstarter pledges, and backer comments indicate that physical reward orders haven't been fulfilled. So we don't think it was just a smash and grab or a cash grab, because a lot of work did go into the game already, but it seems like the creator of the game has decided not to keep developing it and is not planning on refunding anyone's money. And that's kind of an issue.
There has been an update, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I was about to say, I read something differently that he went off the kind of deep end because he's actually redoing it with a whole new engine.
They're pulling a Rust, basically, but they didn't talk about it for 2 months. They went dead silent on all social media, so everyone thought that he had just cut and run. But in reality, at least from what he's saying, they're rebooting the game.
Where are you reading that, though?
That was older news than what you're reading, though.
Okay, yeah, because what I'm reading is from today, and they said they were shifting to Unreal Engine 4 and they were going to redevelop stuff, but now they haven't fulfilled any Kickstarter physical backer things, and it's been pulled from Steam.
Well, I wonder if
that's why we got pulled earlier.
Cash grab, move to the next server or in the next engine. Are they going to do
have
like
the
another
same product though for their Kickstarter backers?
Right, I'm saying, are they going to do another Kickstarter to fund the move to a new engine?
Ooh, that'd be dirty. Nobody would go for that. I don't think anybody would do that.
But yes, this happened after the whole.
The best game's coming out.
This happened after the whole 2 months of silence and then announcing they were moving to Unreal Engine 4. This is after that. There's like another month of silence and then the game disappeared. So, do you guys see this as a major issue with early access, or do you think people should have expected something like this could happen?
I think people should just be smart, knowing that Kickstarters are not say the game's going to come out.
There's no guarantee that
I know
ARMA ever
there's no
comes out.
guarantee.
People should treat Kickstarter and early access like a gamble. Like you're paying for
Or just a straight up donation.
Yeah,
You
like
know?
you're paying towards an idea that might happen, and if you do your research and choose products that you really believe in, like Star Citizen or DayZ, where you read some about the developers' past projects, or maybe for the War Z you researched on Sergei Titov and his previous adventures, and you know what you're getting into, make an informed decision. There's some responsibility for what these retailers like Steam are selling, sure. But for early access, I think a lot of responsibility falls on the people just throwing money at their screens too fast.
Now, do you think Steam should have a bigger responsibility to make sure people know when they buy an early access game? Like, should there be an extra splash screen before you actually purchase the game that says, do you understand this is an early access game? Like,
Yes.
something you actually have to click around, because they say it on the they say it on the pages for the games, like that they're early access, but they don't explicitly say, hey, you might never get the game. Do you understand that? And I think it ought to
That
say
needs
that
to be
before you
stated,
actually,
I think. Yeah.
like, so before you purchase it, I think there ought to be, I don't know, a giant red screen with white text that says, hey, you understand you may never see this game, right? Okay, cool. Continue.
I've said this before, but I think that early access is over promoted on Steam.
Yep.
I think it's way too easy to find an early access game. Like,
I'll agree.
if it's all over the front page, and I'm like, oh, that game looks cool. Oh, wait, it's early access. Dang it. I mean, that happens to me all the time.
It's because they sell so well, James. That's why.
Because all the open world multiplayer survival games loosely based on zombies, they've got to go
Because
somewhere.
everyone wants that game that's hopefully going to scratch the itch that does it really well. You know what I mean? That one that's like, and that's what I think. As much as people say
2.5 million sold so far, DayZ's scratching the itch. Everyone wants a piece of the pie.
Well, they're playing the game. Yeah. Well, they also want to, but there's also a lot of companies. Like, if I had a couple $1 million, I would actually want to start a DayZ type game because I think I could do it better. But it's like, but I'm just saying,
And lots of other people have had the same thought, obviously.
Exactly. Yeah. But I'm saying, like, with alphas and stuff, I honestly hate freaking early access games. I freaking hate them so much because you're not really getting the true vision of what they want. You're getting this vision of, like, a TV show. If you guys don't already know this, people watch TV shows like Lost. As it's being made, you're seeing an episode and they're only 2 episodes ahead of you. That's it. Like, they're actually filming the episodes and you're watching them like 2 episodes. They get 2 episodes done, you watch them, and they're already like a few ahead of time. So literally, as you watch them, characters that you like, or they pull online, like Ben Linus in the show. And it was he was supposed to not be in the show, like, for more than a couple episodes, but everyone loved him, so they wrote him in longer. So that's how it kind of pisses me off.
Same thing happened with Jesse Pinkman.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But it's like, I kind of get frustrated that I like a little bit. I like the idea of feedback in some things, but it's too much. It's like everyone just wants their something. Like, I would hate to put my movie out there and go. Everyone's like, "Well, make it like this." I was like, "No, well, that's not what I want to do. I want to do my vision and hear it out." I get good feedback from friends and stuff on ideas, but it's like, this is what I ultimately want to do. If I wanted to make your project, then I would want to make your project, but I don't. So I think early access is really, I get to play a game 2 years early. But then people don't think of it as, oh, I get to play a broken game 2 years early. I get to play a finished game 2 years early. And that's basically what you play.
My problem with early access, too, is that, with DayZ, you at least know that they have a company behind them that's a decent size. Well, it grew a lot more because of DayZ. But, you're getting companies that wouldn't necessarily be able to make big games. And so they're kind of, you're not just gambling your money, they're kind of gambling their own talents. So they don't know that they can actually make the game that they want to make. So they could, kind of cut and run at some point and say, we really can't do what we said we were going to do. So here's what we have.
And I used to be more down on early access. I don't think the problem with early access is the concept of it. I think it's just the way that it's presented when you buy the early access games.
Sure.
PC Gamer did a panel earlier this year. I think it was at a PAX or maybe E3, where they had a bunch of indie game developers who all had games in early access, and they were on this panel, and they were asking them questions about it. And all the guys said, hey, we're 4, 5, maybe 20-person teams. we couldn't get the level of feedback we need, not to like change the vision of the game, but like to play test the game and to figure out if some of these core ideas even work. Like, we're behind it, we're making the game, but if no one who plays the game likes this particular game mechanic, well, maybe our vision is wrong for that. Like, the vision of the game doesn't have to change, but a lot of these ideas we want to try, the only way to see if they're going to work is to have people play it, and we can't do that unless we have tons of people play it, and we're a small company, so we can't hire that many playtesters. So early access is an awesome way for...
They can do demos.
They can.
What's wrong with doing a demo?
Because it takes so much longer to put out a demo with early access. Like, look with DayZ. They roll out a patch, a lot of people play it. They found all the bugs within like an hour and a half, and the team can roll out a hotfix a couple days later that fixes it. With a demo, it would take way longer than that. And when you're
mechanically, look at the temperature mechanics added in the last experimental patch. It's a cool idea. You know, your body is affected by the clothes you wear and the rain and whatnot, but it's so unbalanced right now. Like, you run around with your shirt off half the time trying to stay cool, and now you're too cold, so you put it back on, so you're too hot. And they knew within 24 hours that those settings were not fun, and that people were not enjoying that. Mm-hmm. That's almost instant feedback from a very large amount of their player base.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I'm fine with that. I mean, but you're talking about individual mechanics. What Jeremiah had originally said was kind of the overarching mechanics of the game. Mm-hmm. Which I think would be better answered through a demo.
Yeah, well, I mean,
we bought the game. Nobody liked your game. Well, I guess we got to figure out how to make a better game completely. Yeah. And then it's like, that's when it becomes the gamble.
The game PT, which ended up being the Silent Hills teaser demo, it randomly showed up on the PlayStation Network. It was downloaded like 1.3 million times. So it's like, demos are really, really nice to have. Like, I bought many games from just playing a demo.
I wish more
PC games had demos, but it's like
demos are kind of
whatever, But that would be nice. Yeah, I mean, that's what I thought DayZ should have done. They shouldn't have, instead of just releasing updates every second, they just get a stable build, a really nice one, release it, and then every 3 or 4 months they release a full new kind of build of it.
But you want to know why that wouldn't work for DayZ, Joel? Is with every patch, hackers, scripters, exploiters find holes in unfinished parts of the game code, and hacks for the game are released in waves. And right now, the .48 version hacks are going crazy because everyone knows about the upcoming wipe for .49. So everyone's like, oh, just use your hacks real quick, before the update comes out. So it's becoming unplayable in version .48. And the developers just let that stagnate there, and people kept finding older bugs that they had fixed.
Well, they can work on just hacks and that stuff, just minor bugs, but not work on bigger features,
So now they have a branched version of the game that they have 3 devs working on that has like its own execution to push it out to Steam.
Yeah, it's just not
they
realistic.
Have to maintain that.
Maybe so. I guess they literally
nightmare.
have nobody testing the game over at DayZ. Like, no one tested. They just go, hey, chuck it out to the mass.
That's what experimental is. That's what experimental is. We're testing it.
And before experimental, they do have a large, I think it's a 12-man internal QA team that reviews the build, and experimental has gotten delayed before because of game-breaking bugs. So, like, if there's a bug in experimental that, like, if you open a container and, like, put an apple into it, your game crashes to desktop, that is a huge issue, and that will actually cause experimental to get delayed. The QA testers find, like, the game-stopping stuff like that. If there's like an issue where you can like spam the pick apple button and pick like an apple every second, that's not like they can fix that later. That's not game stopping.
Okay.
See, it's the flip side to early access for something like DayZ is that knowing that it's going to have a big audience. I mean, they couldn't even predict it was going to be that big, but when they need that cash influx, mm-hmm. I don't have a problem with giving something that has a little bit more road testing. Before it's put in early access, but some of these developers that come out of nowhere and just say, "Hey, we're making this game. We have this cool concept.
Well, I think
give us your money."
DayZ is maybe one of the best case scenario early access games because the mod came out, and the mod was developed for like 6 months before standalone was really starting to be worked on, and the mod sold millions of copies of ARMA, or however many, hundreds of thousands to millions of copies of ARMA, and like the game already was established as a thing you should care about, and people played it for a year and a half before early access of standalone came out. So they kind of proved themselves. It's a lot different than like Stomping Land shows up on Steam and all you know about it is there's dinosaurs and it's a survival game and you've never heard or seen anything about it, except maybe you saw the Kickstarter. So there's a big difference there, and I think DayZ is one of the companies doing early access right for the most part. But I think Steam does need to assume more responsibility with how they sell the games or how they run their store. But it is now time for mail time, where you can write into the podcast
mail time
at casualshenanigans@gmail.com. And Jerry writes back to us. He wrote in a couple of weeks ago. He bought an Asus desktop, if you guys remember, and it just kind of sucked for games. He had like a GT 620, I think, but he had like an i5 or i3 quad core. I think it was i5 quad core, 8 gigs of RAM, and he was just kind of saying, hey guys, I want to play games. Do I need to build a whole new computer, or can I use this one? And we told him, hey, you should probably get a power supply and a graphics card, and you can use that desktop. Well, he says, thanks for your almighty PC wisdom. I'm not so informed when it comes to this. I bought this PC as an emergency replacement, and I've really learned to regret it. I do indeed have enough space to fit the graphics card. Unfortunately, I only have a single fan spot on the back of my PC case. Yup, that's a pre-built. I still have the panel on the side that has a bit of a vent, however. Is there anything I can do to help with the cooling, or is that vent on the side enough? My family owns a sheet metal working shop, so modifying the case would be an easy possibility. I just need to know if it will work. Also, something which wasn't answered on the podcast, what manufacturer brand should I get for the GPU? He has no idea what's the best. You can totally modify the case. Like, most graphics cards vent the air out the back, so they actually will take care of most of their heat venting, but they will heat up the inside of the case a lot more than the card you have in there currently. But if you bought, let's say, a GTX 770, and you stuck it in there, it's going to push most of the heat out the back. There will be more heat on the inside of the case. If you cut a big enough hole in the side of that case that you can have an 120 millimeter fan mounted in the side that's just sucking air out, like, you know, you don't even have to cut a huge hole. You can just drill a bunch of holes for ventilation and then mount the fan to it. That'll work. Like, just have it suck the air out. Now, you need to either have a push system or a pull system. Like, you either need to be pushing tons of air into the case and it'll just escape through all the cracks, or you need to have a pull system where you're pulling a lot of air into the case, and it has to, like, and then it escapes. Does that make sense? I might not be saying that right.
Wouldn't, if you pull all the air in, isn't it going to fill up the case and go balloon like a pop?
You're pulling all the hot air out, and then the cold air will get sucked in from all the little cracks in the case. Dave, you got to use push to talk. Can't hear you, Dave. Can't hear you.
Is there a point where you would? Is there a point where you tell someone to just buy a case?
Well, no. The problem is if he buys a case, most like the Asus motherboard and stuff probably aren't going to go into a standard case because it's a pre-built. No, I think his case will definitely work. I've cut holes in the side of cases before to add fans. You can totally do that. Just drill a bunch of holes in the side, mount an 120 millimeter fan in there, and have it suck air out of the case and mount it right below where the graphics card is going to go, and it'll suck hot air out of that chunk of the case where the graphics card goes. It'll be fine. Dave, are you back yet?
I wish I could see.
Can't hear you.
He's not.
Just check to see if like your mic's working. No, Dave, we still can't hear you.
Hand signal, flag signal, so it's like...
Just use like your Astros or something. So while we're waiting for Dave, 90 Seconds with Joel. It's time now for 90 Seconds with Joel, a part of the podcast where Joel talks about something
nothing for 90 seconds.
For 90 seconds.
It's like 7 minutes in heaven, except it only takes him 90 seconds.
And it's in hell.
I think I might be back up. Hold on.
This is just going out straight to Ultra Grunt. Please play Fallout 3. Make it work. I was so sad the day I got up. I was like, I'm going to work. I'm gonna watch his stream. Fallout 3. I was excited to see him walk out of that vault for the first time. James sent me a clip on YouTube of just some guy walking out of the vault for the first time. I'm like, oh my gosh, I would pay $100 right now to forget everything about that game so I could replay it. So James, so Ultra Grunt.
Can you remove my
live through you?
Can you take the other feed off?
I have nothing today. I have absolutely nothing.
It's gone, James.
Oh, I see it on my screen.
Oh,
there it goes.
Yeah,
there it goes.
Back
it's
over.
gone.
Oh, Dave's back! Yay! Did Skype just forget your mic?
Yeah, Skype just is being stupid tonight. I don't know what's going on.
Okay. So Joel, I think the point of Joel's 90 seconds was he would like to pay $100 so he could forget he ever played Fallout 3, so he could replay it again for the first time and experience the childlike wonderment of leaving the vault.
I might do that.
Joel, so how much will you pay me to hit you? And we'll just hit you in different spots on your head until you don't remember.
If it actually worked and it only worked for Fallout 3, I would let you do that.
What if we could total recall you and plant memories in your brain that you tried Fallout 3 years ago and you thought it sucked, so you weren't interested in trying it again, but now we can like convince you to sit down and I guess give it another try, and then you could just be blown away.
I feel like that's happened to me a million times for DayZ though. Like, I keep remembering, I hate playing this game, and you guys are like, erase this memory. Hey, Joel, do you want to play this new game? It's really cool. It's survival and everything. It works really well.
I feel the same way about you a lot of the time. Some nights in DayZ, you spend 3 hours trying to meet up with each other, and you can't, and you die a bunch, and there's no loot, and there's hackers everywhere, and it sucks. And then right when you're about to throw in the towel and log off, you'll have this crazy, like,
I know.
1 in a million experience that, like, you're on the edge of your seat for 20 minutes, and you're like, dang it, that's why I play this game. If only we can make those moments happen like on a consistent basis.
I know.
DayZ is very good at just streaming
What if you could pay for DLC that guaranteed those experiences every night?
We're not doing this, Joel. Joel's just throwing chum in the water. He's like, "You want some cut up fishies? Woo! Bite." And now our last thing before we leave. It's now time for Dave's comment of the week. But actually, we're not going to have a comment of the week from Dave. If you remember, we were talking about earlier, crappy marketing. People trying too hard to market and not marketing in the right way. Like Homefront spent a ton of money marketing in ways that people weren't responding to. Intel is marketing to people right now. And it's weird because Intel has like 2/3 of the processor market. At least for video gaming. So like they're the king of the processors, but they somehow feel the need to debase themselves. Dave, can you pop that link into the Google Doc real quick?
I'm trying to find the tweets. Basically, Intel's marketing department was dropping some super cringeworthy tweets on the launch of their new CPUs.
Are you just on their Twitter account?
Yeah, let me link you right here.
Oh wow, we're at 20 viewers.
Dang. What happened?
Okay. It was probably your crass comment earlier, Jeremiah.
Okay, so...
Getting wet. Like, ooh, what's this podcast about?
Oh man, the whole Intel... It's the Intel gaming Twitter. The whole thing is cringy.
Yeah, but
everyone has their own favorite liquid cooling. Here's this one from Intel. Hope you like it. Everyone has their favorite liquid cooling. You mean the 10,000 people that like liquid cooling enough to have a favorite? What's the difference between the X99 platform and the X79 platform? Here it is in a nutshell. Well, more like a picture.
Here's your challenge. How would you sell PC parts and things like that?
No.
Like if you're head of marketing, how would you do it?
Let's get to the bad ones. We're just working our way. Joel, don't. Yeah, you can't pile on yet.
Stop playing devil's advocate so fast, Joel. Patience.
Okay.
Got the interstate out in a few minutes.
Kaboom! Head exploded when I remembered that with Intel's Core i7 Extreme processors can run 5 GPUs at an X8 configuration. Boom.
Said no one ever.
Yeah, that's like, that's so horrible.
That Kaboom one is one that got me. I'm just imagining some like 41-year-old marketer like, I know what the kids these days are saying. It's Kaboom.
And then here's another one. Achieve champion status with NCIX PC and the new 8-core Intel Core i7 processor Extreme Edition. It's like, oh, guys.
And the great part for me is I think I followed Intel Gaming because of like a giveaway like a year ago. They tweet like, I don't know, once every couple days. But on the launch day of their new CPUs, there was a tweet going out like every 30 minutes. And everyone was like, I know you guys are dying to hear about the memory bus on the new 8 cores. Let me break it down for you. kids.
It's obviously they had these marketing points they knew they needed to hit, and they weren't exactly sure how to get it out to everyone. Like, people love Twitter, because I'm sure people scrolling through Twitter and be like, holy crap, 32 meg L3 cache? Mom, get in the car. We're going to Micro Center. Like, no, that's not how Twitter works, guys. Not for processors. Like, if Kanye tweets out that his new record is only available in Targets starting 10 minutes ago, yeah, Twitter might be useful for that. But when
see, I'm looking at this. If these were only every once in a while, it wouldn't be that bad. Mm-hmm. Like if they had some normal tweets every once in a while too. But these are all just like really cheesy, like someone trying to be really witty.
Yeah.
Like, hey, cool kids, come out and check out our brand new jamboree. It's like, yep. See ya.
Ding, 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 ding.
But yeah, it's like most PC gaming parts are sold really cringy. Like, they got some half-naked fantasy woman with like wings riding a Pegasus horse on the box. It's like, unleash the Kraken monster, and it's like a GTX
Kraken monster fairy.
It's like a GTX 730 or something. Like,
but I guess that is kind of the PC gaming demographic, though.
no, it's not though. It really isn't.
How do you know? How do you know?
Okay, out of all the PC gamers I've met, I don't think any of them would respond to that particular image.
I don't think anybody responds to that.
Somebody does.
Maybe
that's doing
15,
it for somebody.
20 years ago, like
there's probably,
when you first had 3D models with a card and it was like, oh wow, 3D models.
There's probably some subreddit devoted to people who think that type of stuff's hot, but
if it's working right now and that is actually what's selling, then maybe it is. Like,
but
we all hate DLC, but I'll buy it.
No, I
but
just
that's
think
not what's selling. I think
the cards are selling. Yeah, the cards are selling regardless. They've just never had to update the way they sell them because they're not hurting sales.
But I don't know.
Some things people will buy regardless. I mean, technically, Apple doesn't have to market their stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, people are it's got a loyal enough fan base. I mean, there's not that many choices for processors.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Intel doesn't have to do this. People are already buying the processors. Like, no one's going to make the decision to buy an Intel because you can run, like, 5 GPUs into X8 configuration. Maybe, like, 3 people are going to make the decision because of that. But no, most people are going to buy them because they're faster for gaming. You game faster when you use Intel on most games. Just say that. If you want to sell them based on their performance, just have a graph that shows in DayZ, which has sold 2.5 million copies and is legitimately one of the biggest PC exclusive hits they've had in years. On an Intel processor that costs $200, you get 50 FPS. On the similar AMD one that costs $200, you get 35. Make that graph, put that out, people will buy Intel.
I think they're just trying too hard the wrong way. I think they have someone that's not matched up with their audience.
Yeah. Well, that's true of a lot of marketing things.
Like
I mean, the place that I work, our Twitter account went from like maybe a couple thousand to almost as much as Intel has now.
Wow.
Like within a year. And it's because it started getting a lot of hype because it was speaking to the people that it was actually marketing towards.
I'll have to go link me to your Twitter, James.
Yeah,
I'm curious to go look at it.
None of these tweets relate to me. I want to hear about like real world performance.
Yeah, exactly. Like if I'm going to buy it, I switched from AMD to Intel because Intel was better for what I needed it to be right now. The second that AMD is better, I'll switch back. Like it's not. Processors are pretty much exclusively sold off performance. They don't look cool. It's a tiny little silver square that you stick in your computer and never see again until you take it out. Like, you can't sell them on looks. You sell them on what they do, which is think. And that's how you should be selling them. Not in, like, how crazy extreme it makes your gaming experience. No. It just lets your graphics card do its job. That's what a processor does.
It's like those cheesy local commercials that are done by the people who just never left that style. Mm-hmm. It's like, come check out the extravaganza.
Was it? It's like the what was the Comcast commercial, Dave? It was he said I'm not streaming or something. It was like for Trials HD, a game that has.
It was. They said, "Do you want to get rid of all your? Want to get rid of your lag in games? You need Comcast Xfinity, which is just their highest download speed, which doesn't affect your lag at all." And to show off how smooth it was, they were showing off Trials, which is an offline only game. They're having people play it. People were like, "This is really smooth." Yeah, local network multiplayer is really smooth. That's why LAN parties are awesome.
And I think Intel's problem here, too, is this is very obviously Intel's gaming marketing account. It's a marketing account. We all know that. Don't pretend like you're one of the gaming guys and you got this cool new factoid sheet for us. We know that you're Intel. It's okay. It's okay. We followed you because we know that. Like, just treat us like adults and write tweets for adults.
Right.
Kaboom.
Speak to the...
I just can't get over that. My head exploded, literally.
I should update the Slap a Seal shirt so it has the words kaboom over the slap.
Yeah, do it, Joel.
Kaboom!
All right, and with that, guys, that's going to be the end of our podcast this week. Thank you all for coming out. As always, you can follow us on Twitter, Casual Shenanigans, Germ Gaming, Evil Viking, and you can donate through Patreon, leave comments through iTunes, and even besides all of that, we appreciate you guys coming out and listening. Yes, Joel?
I had a poll. I wanted to poll the audience.
Okay, real quick. We'll do this.
Show us your poll.
No!
Kaboom! My head exploded when I realized all the social media outlets that Casual Shenanigans has.
Kaboom!
Kaboom! No. They're on Twitter, guys.
If I designed a calendar that had Joelisms on each page, it's just like an image of my face, like smiling or something like that, who would be interested? I know Ultragun is interested, so you don't count. But everyone else...
I'm interested in profiting off of it. You're selling them, Joel.
But I was like, I just have like photo of me just like,
I've caught most of them.
Just really, really geeky poses, and then just like my famous Joelisms, various sayings I have on there that are retarded.
Joel, I'll shoot you like I shoot my brides.
That would be amazing.
Joel, give the audience some samples of your Joelisms.
Okay, well, one,
Stop breathing down my throat.
Yeah, stop breathing down my throat. I really want to say number 5, but I want to save that for the calendar.
Oh, gosh.
But, the other day I was talking about, man, I'm getting a lot of stuff done on Norman, finishing it up, and I was like, I was just telling Steven Burge, who plays Norman, I was like, yeah, I'm really making sure I'm dotting my P's and Q's. I'm like, wait, what? But I got some. The other day I was searching because we want to have a Halloween party, and I was trying to look for a costume.
First time hearing about it.
So I was looking for a costume. Well, you don't live close.
Quiet out of towner.
But anyways, I visit you all the time. You never come visit me.
We'll invite you. We're planning to have an awesome Halloween party.
Yeah, you don't want me.
My wife's gonna make it really awesome. We're gonna make a haunted house. Anyways, so I was like, I'm looking up for some like Halloween costumes, and I'm like, I didn't want to look for kids costumes because I figured.
I remember this now.
So I typed in adult Halloween costumes, and I'm like, what did I do? What was I expecting?
On your work network too. At work.
Like, oh my gosh. Too many creepy things in people's mouths. So this is one of those 365-day tear-off calendars. Oh man, I need to come up with a lot more. Now, I feel like I could come up with a lot more.
You don't come up with any of them. That's the thing.
I mean, that's what I mean. Like, it'll happen. So I don't know if I can get just 365 though.
Yeah, Joelisms are just like disasters. They just kind of happen. Like a natural disaster.
Oh, yeah. What's the other one? Sealing the deal. I'm like, I wanted to say, let's seal the deal, man. But I'm like, let's seal in the deal.
We're going to trap you. You're not getting out, deal.
Seal us in. You'll die here. That's how committed we are. All right. Yeah. Well, with that, guys, thank you very much for coming out. And I don't think there's anything else we need to say, so... we'll see you all next
tweet
week.
Me at #kaboom.
Oh yeah, tweet about the show at #kaboom. And with that, everybody, slap a seal.
No, stay casual.